Hey, folks, we'll be on in just a few minutes. Dr. Wallach's having issues getting on here, so bear with us.
Hello? Hello? Anybody there?
I am.
Okay, who's this?
This is Carmen.
Hi, Carmen. This is Dr. Wallach.
Hi, how are you doing?
In a few minutes. Okay.
Good.
So, I don't know if Pharmacist Keith is on. I don't hear him.
Yeah, he said it would be on in a couple of minutes, that you were having difficulty
Okay.
getting on.
Okay.
Hey,
well,
Doc.
I'm here. Okay.
Hey,
I'm
Doc.
here.
I see you got on finally.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Hang on. Let me get myself back over here.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Pharmacist Keith with a healthy lifestyle call, campaign for nutrition, health, wellness call. As those of you that are on here already have determined, Doc has been having some issues because of storms in his area. So he had to call in on the landline instead. And I am traveling on the interstate right now in my son's 18-wheeler. We just on our way back home from Florida. So we're having issues also connecting to Facebook. So this is going to be live streamed to YouTube on the Prosperity RX channel. You'll be able to go over there and get the replay. It's on youtube.com/ProsperityRx. That's all one word, ProsperityRx. But anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Keith Abel. I am a pharmacist. I've been a practicing pharmacist now since 1995. I have practiced in every setting that you can imagine, from inner city pharmacy all the way out to very rural parts of Kentucky, hospital pharmacy, home infusion pharmacy, long-term care pharmacy, and in some community clinics. One thing that I've discovered over the years, and now I'm in long-term care, one of the things I've discovered over the years is from the days when I first started having my patients come in, they'd start off with 1 or 2 prescription drugs, maybe something for diabetes or high blood pressure, or maybe they start on something for arthritis. And then over the years, I would notice that the doctors would continually add more and more and more prescriptions to their regimen. Now that I'm in long-term care, I'm seeing things at the other opposite end, and we've got patients that are on 30, 40, sometimes as many as 50 prescription drugs. And one doctor doesn't have a clue what the other doctor has the patients on, and all these different interactions are happening, causing them to have to be on more prescription medications. And that's just something that's not acceptable to me as a pharmacist. In my beginning of my career, I was always looking at ways to try to help people avoid prescription medications. If I had a person come in with high blood pressure, I always counseled them on what they need to do to get off those drugs. I believe, along with Dr. Wallach, the prescription drugs are a temporary solution. In healthcare, we call it managing a disease. It's never mentioned anywhere in healthcare that we're going to cure somebody's diabetes with a prescription drug. We're going to cure somebody's blood pressure medicines with a prescription drug. But the understanding always is that we're going to manage that disease. And basically the way we're managing that disease is we're taking a chemical, a prescription, that is designed to poison or alter some enzyme system that naturally occurs in the body to get us a result that we want. So like Dr. White talks about all the time in the kidneys, that renin is made by the body to increase the blood pressure to force all the debris through the kidney. So they design a prescription drug. They see the blood pressure's up, so they design a prescription drug to block the production of renin to get the blood pressure back down. Well, that doesn't solve the problem that was causing it in the first place. And that's why we're here on this program every week, is we want to teach people what they need to do to get their bodies back into the health and wellness mode that we were divinely designed to be in. We both believe that our bodies were divinely designed to repair itself given the proper tools to do that. I mean, when you cut your hand, I say this every week, when you cut your hand, you don't have to tell your body what to do. It knows what to do. All you have to do is keep that cut clean, whether it's through an antibiotic ointment or just continuously washing it or through colloidal silver, whatever it is, you're keeping the infection out, and the body knows what to do to repair it from there. Anybody's had any kind of surgery or major injury where they've had to have stitches, the body knows what to do to repair the skin. It repairs itself, and away you go. And that's what that's what we talk about every week when we're on this program. For those of you who don't know Dr. Wallach, he is a veterinarian. First, he was a soil scientist, got a degree in soil science and a degree in animal husbandry. From there, he went on to get his veterinarian degree, and that's where he discovered the first case of a mass die-off of animals due to some type of pollutant. In this case, it was a runoff from a farm. He wrote a paper, got it published, his very first paper that he got published. That got the attention of several people, one of them which was Marlon Perkins of the Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom show. He brought Dr. Wallach over to Africa, since he was a veterinarian, to work on the Project Rhino, which was designed to save the white rhino from extinction, which he successfully has done. If you go to a zoo in the United States today, most likely the rhino that you see there is either one of the rhinos he brought over. It's more likely to be an offspring of one of those rhinos, because I don't think they live that long. But from there, he went on another project in Africa to study the migration habits of the elephants, and tracked elephants across the African continent. And then that original paper he got the attention of the National Institutes of Health, paper on the mass die-off, and they brought him back to the United States to work on a project where they were looking at zoos all across the country. They knew zoos were in major metropolitan areas, so they thought if they can find an animal in a zoo that would react to a pollutant, much like the old days with the canaries in the coal mines in eastern Kentucky. The miners would take a canary down in the mine with them, and if that canary fell off the perch, they knew that they needed to get out of that mine because gases were building up. So that's what the National Institute was looking for in the zoos, an animal that would be reacting to a pollutant as an early warning sign to the humans that lived in the area. So as Dr. Wallach did, every time an animal died in a major zoo somewhere in the United States, Dr. Wallach was sent to that zoo to do autopsies of the animal that died, and to do comparative autopsies and blood chemistries of the humans that died of similar causes. And what he discovered after 13 years of traveling all over the country to all these zoos and doing 17,000 autopsies on hundreds of species of animals and 3,000 autopsies on humans, what he discovered is none of them were dying of pollutants. They were all dying of various nutritional deficiencies. And that's what got Dr. Wallach his big boot into the world of human medicine. He realized this is a situation that not only affects animals, but affects humans as well. And that's when he started crossing the line from being a veterinarian into talking about human health. He then went on to work with NASA with the rhesus monkeys. Those are the monkeys that were used as astronauts in the early days of the space program. And there, as most of you all know, he found discovered the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis. Up to that time, cystic fibrosis was thought to be a genetic disorder in humans. Never had there been a case reported outside of the human species. Well, he found this case in the rhesus monkey, went ahead and did biopsies and blood chemistries on all the other monkeys in the colony, sent those chemistries off to human doctors without telling them that these came from a monkey to get a confirmation that it really was cystic fibrosis. So he sent this off to all the major research centers on cystic fibrosis at the time, and sure enough, he was confirmed that it was cystic fibrosis. Well, he decided the next step he needs to do is look what happened to make these monkeys get cystic fibrosis. So he looked at the diet because, again, he had all that information from all those autopsies he did before, and he knew something dietary had to be the cause. And he looked at the diet. And he discovered that some of the other researchers he was working with changed the diet, the nutritional plan that these monkeys were getting. And the new plan that these other researchers put them on was deficient of one single mineral. When he added that mineral back into the diets of those monkeys, the cystic fibrosis went away in all the other monkeys in the colony. So this was the first crossover from humans for cystic fibrosis, and he found a cure. Immediately, Dr. Wallach was on radio and TV stations across America. I know he was on CNN at the time reporting on this. And eventually, the pharmaceutical companies that sponsored the primate center there in Georgia had Dr. Wallach fired because they can't get the information out there. Did not want to get the information out there that there was a cure. They want to be able to treat these folks with cystic fibrosis for the rest of their life and earn money off of it. That blacklisted him from research in all types of veterinary schools across the country. So he decided to go back and become a medical doctor, naturopathic medical doctor for humans. His next step was to open up his own clinic. He opened up 2 clinics, one in, I think it was Oregon, and the other one in California, where he saw human patients on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. But quickly he realized he still cannot get his message out there that he discovered in Africa to very many people. I mean, he's only seeing 10, 20, maybe on a really good day, 25 patients in a day. So he's not going to get that information out very far. His next step was to take his information on the road. So he worked at his clinics on Monday through Friday. On his weekends off, he would travel up and down the California coast. He couldn't go very far because he had to be back to work on Monday. And he would take that a lecture to different cities up and down the coast where he talked about his discoveries and that National Institutes of Health research project. Quickly learned again that he's only getting to a few hundred people every weekend, plus his patients he sees on a regular basis, and had that one of his lectures recorded, and that is now the famous Dead Doctors Don't Lie recording. That's now been translated into 9 languages with over 600 million copies in circulation. From there, Dr. Wallach went into radio as well, started the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio show. So that show's been around for 30 years. And then finally started traveling left his practice and started traveling all across the country, giving lectures 300 days a year across the country. That's when I met Dr. Wallach when he was coming through Kentucky. We had known each other on a professional basis, but had never met each other. He gave me a call while he was in Kentucky and said, let's get together for breakfast. We got together, and that was at the point where I decided to join Dr. Wallach. And then once a month, I would travel with him to different speaking engagements in the region. And I probably learned more about health, wellness, and nutrition on those weekend jaunts to these different speaking engagements than all my years in pharmaceutical training. Dr. Wallach, I think I covered it pretty good there. What have you got to say for today?
Okay, well, thank you so very much, Pharmacist Keith. Thank you for the kind introduction and sharing all this information. I want to start out by saying, praise the Lord and pass the 90. And that quote came from a military quote. I retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. I was also 7 years in the Army, as well as 20 years in the Air Force. And in battles, when you had an overwhelming enemy coming at you, and they're shooting at you and bombing you and firing artillery at you and everything, you'd say, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. So I just changed it a little bit to praise the Lord and pass the 90. That's where I got that from, because humanity needs, and all vertebrates require oxygen forever, from the second they're conceived to the second they die. all vertebrates, including humans, require all 90 essential nutrients from the time they're conceived until the time they die, okay? And so praise the Lord and pass to 90. Well, right now, with everything going on with the COVID thing and all the shelves being empty and people just eating old bread and, from thrift stores, whatever, anything they can get to eat. This is America. It just blows your mind that this is happening. But this is when people need the nutrition more than ever, especially the kids. We have a liquid product that tastes very good for kids called Kids Toddy, like a hot toddy, Kids Toddy. It's a liquid multiple. It's kind of like our Healthy Brand Heart Pack for kids. And then they also need the EFAs. If they're just newborn babies and are being fed milk replacers like Infamil and Similac, these all can be put in their formulas. And, of course, the dosages are on the labels. I also want them to have our Beyond OsteoFX liquid. It tastes good. It's a liquid, easy to mix in, with their supplement program. And nobody's ever complained about it. So I would go there. And then also we have for kids that are doing dancing and, dance events and clubs and so forth. Also sports. We have what we call collagen peptides. Our glucogel collagen comes in capsules and liquids. It's made from beef, cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue. But our collagen peptides comes from beef, sheep, poultry, and fish. And so I use both. I use the glucogel liquid and the capsules. And then, of course, I use the collagen peptide. I put a couple of scoops of that in my morning liquids and my evening liquids as well. And so I'm 83 years old. Most people think I'm in my 50s when they look at me. And I don't have any arthritis. I don't have any osteoporosis. I don't have anything going on in any joints of my body. I'm really in very, very good shape, except I did have an injury up in Canada some years ago. Other than that injury, there's nothing wrong with me. I have all my own teeth except one, which was knocked out in a fight in a mall. I was carrying a bunch of packages, and three guys wanted to steal my packages. And so I just put them down. I said, well, you're going to have to take them from me. I'm not going to give them to you. This one guy punched me in the face, knocked out that one tooth. Well, I started beating on him real hard, and the other two guys ran away. But I kept my products. That's that story. And then also we have all kinds of problems which are blamed on pollution. The animals before the dinosaurs, the trilobites, they had 25,000 species over 500 million years ago. And 25,000 species alone of just the trilobites, and they died out over a 60,000 to 100,000 year period. They're the most successful of all animal organisms on Earth. Very interesting organisms. But they died out. And everybody's blaming pollution and global warming. Well, there were no cars back then, and there was no factories back then 400 million years ago. And then all the dinosaurs died out over a 100,000 year period. And they're blaming that on pollution and global warming. No, that didn't happen. And then we have the dead zones. There's 401 dead zones. The newest one is in Oregon. And the biggest one is in the Arabian Sea. And the Arabian Sea, of course, is to India like the Gulf of Mexico is to America. It has 66,700 square miles of dead zone there. Now, the same thing that's causing the dead zones is causing the reefs to be in trouble. The biggest reef, the Great Barrier Reef, 1,400 miles long on the eastern coast of Australia, is really made up out of 2,000 small reefs. They don't touch each other, but you can see one when you're standing on the coast of one. You can look either north or south and see the coast of another one. But it's dying from the same thing that causes the dead zones. So let's go back to the dead zones. And of course, we're suffering from the same issues. We're suffering from the same issues. But to find out what we need to do for ourselves, we need to find out what's going on here in the world. When you look at all of these events going back over 400 million years ago, you're looking at glacial events or glaciers, big glaciers back like 3 billion years ago. There was only living creatures in water for over 1 billion years. There was no living creatures on dry land except maybe some anaerobic bacteria until they had algae and so forth growing around the coast and getting a little bit of oxygen up there, and also some of these things, moss, peat moss, growing right there by the edge of the water, creating a little bit of oxygen. Then they started getting aerobic bacteria, but they still didn't have any kind of animals for a long time on Earth. There was no water on Earth for the first billion years that the Earth was here. There's just dry nothing, okay, in the beginning. And I'm putting all this I'm put together a book. I spent a lot of years researching all this, and this is coming out in the book here probably by June of next year. I thought hopefully it was coming out by December of this year, but I've got 95% of it done, but I have all these pictures and things and that need to be dealt with, and so I think I can safely say it'll be done on or before June of next year. Anyway, then again, to add 25 to 50 healthy years to people's lives for adults, I want you to get right now, because of the thing going on with the COVID. You need to be taking the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. That's the biggest hammer in our toolbox, and that's going to support your immune system. But you have to stay away from gluten. You and the kids and everybody, dog, cat, bird, fish, mom, dad, brother, sister, everybody's got to be gluten-free, because gluten produces a caustic substance that kills all the villi in your intestines, and you lose 98%, maybe 100% of your absorptive surface. You wind up with things like lupus, and doctors say, oh, you have an autoimmune disease, your body's attacking itself. No, you're eating gluten, and you can't absorb nutrition. That's why you have the rosacea on your face, and you have psoriasis, and you have all kinds of stuff going on. But it's not autoimmune disease, it's just a simple nutritional deficiency disease, because you're eating gluten and you can't absorb everything, even if you were supplementing. Just a quick look at some numbers. These are last night's numbers, because the internet's down. That's why we're doing this call this way. Today the internet's down. And so I can't thank Keith, pharmacist Keith, enough for setting all this up this way. But at any rate, as of last night, we had 46,307,255 infections in the United States alone. We had 756,328 dead. We compare that, excuse me, to 1918, 1919 Spanish flu. In America alone had 675,000 dead. You subtract 675,000 from 756,328, and you get 81,328 more dead people in 18 months here from COVID-19 than we had in 2 years, 1918, 1919, from the Spanish flu. And that's because back then they were still getting wood ashes in their food, in their gardens, and wood ashes were their source of minerals. People have been using wood ashes in their food and in their gardens for thousands of years as a fertilizer and as a supplement. And once we went to electricity after 1882, there was no more wood ashes, there was no more wood stoves, there was no more fireplaces, no more fire pits, and so all of our nutrition went away, and nobody said, hey, we got to make up that difference because nobody's using wood ashes anymore, and so we paid a price. And that's why we got into all this trouble. And doctors are never taught anything about nutrition. And then, again, I already talked to you about the kids' toddy, the ultimate, let's see here, the ultimate Osteo FX liquid, also the EFAs and the kids' sprinkles. Make sure they're getting all that. Even the newborn babies can have all these things except the sprinkles, okay? And they need these nutrients more than anybody because they're growing and they need all this stuff for their cells and tissues and organs to be made and maintained. Also, there's a lot of people who complain when they get up in the morning and say, I'm so tired, man. I was up and down all night. I just, had sleep apnea and I just don't feel very good. I feel grumpy and I just snap at people when they ask me a question. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, they have an oxygen deficiency. And we actually have a liquid that tastes good. Even little kids like it. For kids with autism, they not only need the kids' toddy and the EFAs and the ultimate Osteo FX and so forth, but they also need the Oxy Body. They can take the Oxy Body. It's a liquid oxygen supplement. And again, the dosage is on the label. And I want people to have a victory garden. I want to get house plants with no flowers so they're not worried about pollen. But they can take the green house plants, put them by the rooms that have windows, like kitchens and bathrooms and bedrooms and playrooms and so forth, so they get the sunlight. And then, of course, they're green plants, so they have the chlorophyll. But then also, they're going to need the 20 nutrients that are required for photosynthesis to take place. Photosynthesis cannot take place with just sunlight and chloroplast. Photosynthesis, the chloroplast require 20 nutrients, so I like to put an ounce of or ounce or two of our plant-derived colloidal minerals liquid into a pint of water, and then water those plants twice a week with that plant-derived colloidal minerals, and instead of just water. And the plants won't turn yellow and die. Plus, you're going to give them all the nutrients they need by doing that to break down carbon dioxide into carbon chains and oxygen. And so when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be refreshed. You're going to be nice and kind to everybody. You'll be able to perform better at work because you're inhaling oxygen all night while you're sleeping. And so this is something that everybody's missed, but it's a real issue. Okay. Now, I do have two new CDs. One of them is called Dr. Wallach's Laws of Photosynthetic Disruption and Global Warming. It goes back into the story. Pharmacist Keith and I did this CD. It's actually the soundtrack off of a Zoom we did. But basically, it goes into the story of the glaciers and how it blocked the moraines or the little dams in front of the glaciers, from the silt and the sand and the gravel of the glaciers are pushing in front of it, either totally dammed up and blocked or redirected the flow of minerals. And so all the algae in the oceans died, and that's why the trilobites and all the other little animals died. 95% of all the Earth's population died back then in about 60,000 to 100,000 years. The same thing happened to the dinosaurs when they had major glaciation when all this happened. And they died over a period of 60,000 to 100,000 years because of hypoxia. This is what's happening in all these 401 dead zones. This is what's happening with the reefs, okay? On the east coast of Australia, and the reefs we have, in the Great Barrier Reef, we have 183 dams and reservoirs that are blocking the flow of nutrients to the Great Barrier Reef, and so it can't do photosynthesis, so the coral polyps that make the reef and maintain the reef are all dead. And that's why they bleach, okay, because the reefs are dying because the algae in the reefs can't get the nutrients they need to do photosynthesis, so they die. And the coral polyps need a lot of oxygen, so they die. And the reefs begin to bleach, and that's why they're having the big trouble with the reefs all over the world. In almost every case, where they have trouble with reefs is because we've dammed up the rivers for hydroelectric, for irrigation, for water control, water supplies, water storage, and flood control, and that kind of stuff. So this CD is extremely valuable. Everybody needs to have a bunch of them. We give volume discounts when you buy 7 to 10 of them. When you buy cases of them, we give even bigger discounts. And again, it's Dr. Wallach's Laws of Photosynthetic Disruption and Global Warming, and that will help you grow your practice and help you educate people why they need to supplement. And then the second one is the Manchurian prescription. The Manchurian prescription is me speaking in English for 3 or 4 minutes, and a professional translator translates what I just said in Chinese, Mandarin. And then I speak for 2 or 3 minutes in English, and they translates it to Mandarin. This is actually a Zoom into the Philippines, and Scott Perdulis actually had that translated that way for me. And so if you ever wanted to have a longevity business in Chinatown, in your big cities where you live, or if you wanted to go to Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, places like that, don't forget, Dead Doctors Don't Lie is in 9 languages, including Japanese and Chinese and Mandarin and Cantonese and so forth. And so we do have the tools for you to deal with Asian countries. And so go for it, and because we don't have a large interaction with the Asian community yet, and so we're looking for an army of people to be created using these tools. And we get enough people wanting the book in Chinese, we can translate the book in Chinese. Right now, the Dead Doctor Don't Lie book is only in English and Spanish. Let's see here.
I want to remind everybody too that the website is drjwallach.com. drjwallach.com. Look, that's initials, DRJ, and then Dr. Wallach's last name. And while you're there, he mentioned gluten issues at the very beginning of his talk just then. You can get the CD cereal killers. It's spelled with a C, as in cereal that you eat. And that goes into all the issues with gluten.
Very good. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Keith. Exactly right. Yeah, drjwallach.com. I just said it again because you're a little fuzzy because you're in that truck driving. But
Okay.
Thank you so much for. And let's see here. I'm trying to think.
Let me say one more thing too. The food and dietary supplement products that we mentioned in this program are intended to contribute to the daily diet overall health and are not intended for use in the prevention, treatment, mitigation, or cure of any disease or health-related condition. Folks who have or suspect they have an illness or who wish to start a diet or exercise program should consult with an appropriately licensed healthcare professional for a medical history evaluation, diagnosis, treatments, and health recommendations. And I just want to remind you one more time, you go to the doctor for treatments. The treatments you get are not cures. They are ways to manage your disease. And when we talk about the nutritional products, we're not talking about them as a way to cure a disease. We're talking about giving your body all the 90 essential nutrients it needs, plus whatever extra it needs for different conditions you might have, and then let the body take that nutrition and do what it knows how to do naturally.
Yeah, that's well said. Well said. Very well explained. And let's go. Do we have the ability to take callers?
Yes, yes, we do. I do have one question. Let me pull my chat up.
Okay.
Okay, she's got two questions. Let's start with the second one first. What do you recommend for a 9-year-old female with bunions on both feet? Are they hereditary?
Okay. 9-year-old female. Okay, if that's her only complaint or bunions on her feet, there's other things happening.
9 years old. 9 years old.
9 years. 9 years old.
Yeah.
So if that's all that's going on, that you can see, there's other things going on the inside that you don't see, because bunions are caused by, again, connective tissue issues in joints.
Right.
And so what I want her to do, if she's, okay with taking lots of pills and everything, do we know how much this kid weighs?
No, I do not. It was sent to
so
me
let's
on
say,
Facebook before Facebook crashed.
Okay. Well, let's just say per 100 pounds of body weight. Let's say this kid weighs 80 to 100 pounds. Needs one healthy brain and heart pack, half a dose of everything twice a day. I would also get one bottle of our MSM, so you can take 2 with each meal, be 6 a day. And that's going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, including all the cartilage and ligaments and tendons in the feet and the skin, arteries and veins. Also, she needs vitamin D3. I'd have her take, say, one of those with each meal. That's 3 a day, so 1 bottle a month will do. And then she also needs some extra of the Ultimate Osteo FX, Ultimate Osteo FX, or excuse me, Beyond Osteo FX liquid. She could go ahead as per 100 pounds of body weight, take a half ounce twice a day. So it'll be 1 quart a month for 100 pounds of body weight of the Beyond Osteo FX. That's in addition to the Kids Toddy or the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, one or the other there. But don't forget the EFAs. And and so I'm thinking here, I think that's a good place to start because it covers collagen, minerals, and it's not too much. If the kid needs energy and for school and wants to sleep all the time or something like that, don't forget the Oxy Body and the Rebound.
Yeah, a lot of kids that age won't be able to take the pill, so we definitely need to get the the Kids Toddy, and I would get the Prohoba Omegas, and because that's the omega deficiency is a big part of the bunions and the connective tissue problem. So
yes,
I would get the Prohoba Omegas, and if she can't swallow them, they're small. They're the smallest of all the omegas that longevity has. But if she can't swallow them, then you need to have to poke them with a pin and mix them into some kind of food so she can get it that way.
They're little soft gel capsules. You can puncture them and put them in her liquid foods.
Yeah, and then the Beyond Osteo FX. Okay, her second question, and I hate to bring this up, because every time we discuss this, we get hate. In fact, I had somebody accuse Dr. Wallach of abandoning the 90 for life because he got a vaccine. But this person wants to know, if I was going to get the jab, which one would you suggest for a 40-year-old female with an autoimmune disorder? Okay.
Well, we already know that there's no such thing as an autoimmune disorder, right?
Right. And if you have an autoimmune disorder, that will affect the effectiveness of the vaccines to start with.
That's correct.
Okay, so
but there are no such things as autoimmune.
Right. Well, I'm saying if you have an immune disorder where you have some sort of problem with your immunity, you have to have a healthy, strong immunity for the vaccines to even work in the first place.
Yeah. Okay,
Colin Powell just died,
yep.
and they first started blaming it on COVID. Well, yeah, he died from COVID, but he had cancer and was on chemotherapy drugs, so he basically had no immunity. And they gave him the shots, but because he had no immunity, they didn't work. So the immunity part is very important for even the vaccines to work. So go ahead, Dr. Wallach.
Okay, so is this the same little girl or is it somebody else?
No, 40-year-old female. Thyroid issues and heart issues, 5'2", 125 pounds.
Okay, 5'2", heart issues, and quote, autoimmune, unquote.
Right, and thyroid.
Okay.
Doesn't say hypo or hyper.
Okay, and thyroid. Okay. So need to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, barley, rye, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go. And then at 125 pounds, I'd have her take one healthy brain and heart pack per month, get a bottle of our selenium. There's one bottle of selenium that comes with the healthy brain and heart pack, but I want her to have 3 twice a day because it supports the immune system and also supports the connective tissue, okay, since she has all this, quote, autoimmune stuff going on. So we want her intestines to heal fast so she can absorb the nutrition. And I want her to take one healthy brain and heart pack per month. Again, get another bottle of selenium so you can take 3 twice a day. Half a dose of everything else twice a day. I want her to get 1 bottle of MSM so you can take 3 of those twice a day. Support and promote maintenance repair, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between vertebrae, bone, makes the bone itself. Because she has heart issues, I want her to take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Take 3 of those twice a day. That'll support healthy blood pressure and healthy blood flow through blocked arteries in case she has blocked coronary arteries, and also blocked arteries in the brain and blocked arteries in the kidney and so forth. 3 twice a day of the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, 2 bottles a month. And if she's on medication for blood pressure or anything like that, don't cold turkey off of that. But as the blood pressure drops, she can slowly reduce it based on the numbers. Then she also needs the let's see here, for the heart, I would also throw in the Cardio FX. Okay, let's go with the ultimate. Let's go with the Ultimate Daily, the big yellow one. Let's go with the Ultimate Daily. 3 of those twice a day. That's 1 bottle a month would do that. Then that's the Ultimate Daily. That's also to support the heart. I also want her to have for the thyroid issues. She can take 3 twice a day of the Fucoid Z that's made from, 8 or 9 different seaweed and algae and stuff like that for all the trace minerals. And if she wants to, she can also throw in 3 twice a day of the Ocean's Gold, same thing, but from the other ocean. And whether they have a low thyroid or a hyperthyroid, they will all, it's amazing, they all respond to nutrition either way, either too much thyroid activity or not enough thyroid activity. And I think we have answered all her questions there, but she's got to get rid of all the bad foods. I mean, this is, really, really important. So you can maximum absorb all these nutrients and also maximum stop the inflammation, which doctors are incorrectly diagnosing as autoimmune issues.
All right.
She could also have the rebound sports drink for energy, no soft drinks.
Okay, I'm in a noisy spot at the moment, so I know we got a couple more questions. If you want to just jump in there and ask Dr. Wallach your question. Just go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good morning, Dr. Wallach. This is Christine.
Good morning.
I have someone
Christine.
Yes, good morning. Someone called and asked me about, they took the vaccine and now they're having like a coughing episodes or something afterwards. And I didn't get any more information from her yet. She was supposed to call me, but she said she was sick. So I was asking her, what was her problem? What was she diagnosed with?
Okay.
She told me she took the vaccination and she's been having this episode with, coughing, no difficulty breathing, just the coughing.
Okay, now, so she didn't have that before the vaccination.
Right.
Okay. Do you know how old she is and how much she weighs?
She's probably about 125 pounds, maybe.
Okay.
And I think she may be around 50, somewhere between 48 and 50 years old.
Sure. Okay. So basically, two things need to happen here. Number one, if she's not on her supplements, she needs to immediately get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten, no wheat bran rhinos, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Then she needs one healthy brain and heart pack per month, half a dose of everything twice a day. I'd get her another bottle of Arsenium so she could take 3 of those twice a day. I would also have her take the Ultimate Daily Classic, okay, for circulation. Have her take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. I'd also have her take the, let's see here, the Killer Biotic. She could take 3 of those twice a day. There's reishi mushrooms and 5 or 6 other mushrooms that go along with it to support the immune system. They relieve pain and also support the immune system and relieve inflammation as well as pain. I also want her to have our colloidal silver in case there is an infection there. She could take a dropper full or 2 droppers full under her tongue 30 minutes for each meal and 30 minutes for bedtime. Don't forget her hand sanitizer lavishly 3 or 4 or 5 times a day or on her hands and feet and back of her neck and so forth. And it's one of those things where this cough could be at 50 years of age. She could have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, and this branch called the recurrent nerve, which causes coughing and hiccups and all that kind of stuff. But basically, we've already talked about the MSM. She needs MSM, again, 1 bottle a month, so she can take 3 of those twice a day. She needs vitamin D3, 2 bottles a month, so she can take 3 of those twice a day, just in case it is osteoporosis of the skull. We've already covered in case it's an infection with the colloidal silver and the hand sanitizer. That comes at this coughing thing from 2 different directions. Now, the way a vaccination works is it irritates your tissues, okay? It irritates your tissues with the DNA and RNA of the bad guy, whether it's a virus or bacteria, fungus, or yeast. But when it irritates your tissues, if you're missing something, that irritation can cause a clinical reaction, such as a cough or a fever or pain or numbness or itching or something else going on, okay, like coughing or diarrhea. And it's your body's reaction to this foreign protein is what it is. And that's how vaccines work. I know when I was in the Army and in the Air Force, we would get 10 vaccinations in one day every year and never had a problem. And so, if somebody chooses not to get a vaccination, I respect their opinion. If they, they should respect my opinion if I decide I'm going to get a vaccination. Personally, I got the Madeira vaccination. I got the 2, 1 month apart, and I'm waiting for them to approve a booster, so I am going to get the booster. But again, that's my choice. I'm not asking anybody else to get a booster. I'm not asking anybody else to get a vaccination. I'm getting a vaccination, although I've been taking the supplements for, 75 years. I've been gluten-free for 75 years. Most people think I'm in my 50s when they look at me. And of course, the same program works for kids with autism and hyperactivity and all that kind of stuff. Don't forget the oxybody and all the nutrients, and they calm down. That's how I learned about this in humans. I had all those problems. We even had names for them. When I took all these supplements, all my problems went away.
Absolutely. And, Dr. Wallach, he always gives us the big guns to knock these things out. And, I would encourage that if folks can't afford to do these big guns and they got the vaccine and are having symptoms, at least get your friends on the basic 90 essential nutrients and Z radical. Z radical is the biggest gun we've got on an individual basis for the immune system. And I've become a big fan of that since my mother-in-law was taking it when she was living with us. So I would recommend that if they can't afford anything else, make sure they're on one of the 90 essential nutrient packs. And we've got 90 essential packs that go all the way down to $79. And get them, anybody that's had a vaccine that's having any kind of reaction, get them on that C radical. That'll help.
Yeah, it's a
really
liquid.
boost the immune system.
It's a liquid and it tastes good. And it's actually
Tastes
the
good.
liquid form.
It's quickly absorbed.
Yeah, and it's the liquid form of Fucoid Z, same exact formula, it's just a liquid form, and kids love it because it tastes so good.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
What's your name?
My name is Carmen
Yes,
Limperis, and I'm allergic to gluten, and I haven't had any since 2013. But I've been quarantined because I was exposed to somebody that had COVID for 14 days. So I've been stuck in my house, and I have gluten reactions, which is sunburn all over my face and my legs and everything. And I know that somewhere in the house. And every time I go to change the thermostat, so it's got to be in the den in one of those boxes or the rug. And I was wondering, how long does this take after I get the rug out? Does it take like 30 days to get the gluten reaction off my face and everything, or what?
Well, that's going to vary, okay? But I would say give it 90 days. But again, it doesn't hurt to get the Z radical. Like Pharmacist Keith said. Get a hold of don't forget your 90 essential nutrients, the Z radical. You can also throw in the killer biotic. It supports the immune system and also is an anti-inflammatory, relieves pain and itching. We have, if you have stuff itching on your skin, pains, surface pain or joint pain, you can use our CM cream and the trauma oil. Or Soothe from our Hemp FX divisions, our CBD oil with other herbs added to it. And put that on any place that hurts, like your neck or face. And you'll, within say 10, 15 minutes, you'll get 2 or 3 hours of relief. And so you don't need to suffer. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah,
don't forget the oxybody.
Okay, I'll try that because I'm taking everything else.
And you got to really read the ingredients.
Everything.
Gluten is hidden so many different places. So you got to really read them. All right.
They even put it in ice cream.
Yeah, they do.
I make my own ice cream and I cook my own food. So, I
Okay,
only
good.
eat meat and vegetables and rice.
Yeah,
Okay.
check your spice cabinet.
Sounds like my
too.
diet.
I'll check your spice cabinet too. Anybody
Yeah, you
else
need to
have a
look into our
question?
spice. Yeah, they need to look into our spice division, our Savor division, which is our gluten-free spices and so forth, and our let's see here, our pink Himalayan salt. There's so many spices we have that are gluten-free. People need to get those.
Absolutely. And Dr. Wallach mentioned the Hemp FX Soothe. You can get free samples, just pay shipping if you go to aimhigh4hemp.com, aimhigh4hemp.com. That's FOR. All right, Dr. Wallach, any other questions we have out there for Doc before I jump off?
I have a question.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I buy raw cow's milk, but I was concerned that if the cow is not gluten-free, is the milk gluten-free?
Yeah, of course they digest the gluten, and they have all these bugs in their intestine. They got this big, it's called a rumen. It's like the size of a beer barrel in their belly, and they destroy all the gluten. So there's no gluten coming through milk.
Yeah, you got to
Okay.
remember cattle, giraffes. There's a lot of animals that their digestive tract is completely different than ours. And when they eat if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Wallach, they eat the hay and so forth, but they're getting most of their nutrition from that bacterial colony inside them. The hay is feeding that bacterial colony. Am I correct?
Yeah, the hay doesn't have any gluten in it. None of the hay, whether it's alfalfa or timothy or something like that. But when you have wheat, they get, like horses are classically fed wheat and oats and things like that. But they are able to digest it down to where, it doesn't, I don't know how many people drink mare's milk, but, not the mare of a city, but a female horse. And so and when you think about it, every species of animals and humans that make milk, mammals, the first food for babies, whether it's a whale or a wombat or a giraffe or a human being, the first food is always milk. It's the most perfect food on earth is milk and cheese made from milk. And so I have, cheese on my hamburgers. I have 4 different cheeses on my pizzas, but everything is gluten-free. But I put cheese on them. And I have, probably cheese 2-3 times a day. And it's one of those things where you can never get too old to have the food of babies, which is milk.
Right. All right. We had another question.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hi, this is Cherie. Hi, Dr. Wallach, and thanks, Pharmacist Keith. There's a male, 76. He weighs 210 pounds. We've talked to you about him. He's a diabetic, Dr. Wallach. He's still taking shots in his eyes every 4 to 6 weeks. He's on the 90 plus a lot of other nutrients and supplements that were recommended. He's on the feeding tube, and he's been on it for 3 months. And he wants to know when he can get off it and eat. But his major complaint is he's vomiting like a leathery substance. But after he vomits, he feels he can breathe a lot better.
Okay. Now, you said he's getting injections in his eyes.
Yes.
Okay. What's the matter with his eyes?
He was diabetic, and they do it for his vision.
Okay. Well, diabetes has nothing to do with vision. Okay. So let's see here. He may have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing his optic nerve.
Yeah, you gave him a regimen, and he's following, and he's making such great improvements. But the major complaint right now is he's vomiting these. He's thrown up leathery material.
Okay,
and he wants to know.
He probably should add the ultimate enzymes to his program. He could take 2 or 3 of those, say 5-10 minutes for each meal, and it'll digest just about everything, including steel beams. Okay, so ultimate enzymes, and so I'd have him try that. But just
something
make
that's
sure.
Coming. Sorry to interrupt. Something that's coming to mind here is leathery. Is it black and tarry looking?
Yes.
If it's black and tarry looking, then he has some type of
bleeding.
Bleeding going on. So
wow.
This is where I agree with some pharmaceutical to immediately get that under control, but not stay on the pharmaceutical. You need to let the doctor know, needs to let his pharmacist know, so they can go through all of his prescriptions and see if any of those can be causing that, because that can be dangerous. So needs to talk to his pharmacist, needs to talk to his doctor, and the doctor's probably going to prescribe something temporarily, but then we need to listen to what Dr. Wallach says to get back off of what the doctor's going to put him on.
Okay.
Okay.
So Dr. Wallach, what do you do when you have ulcers, bleeding ulcers, and that type thing?
Okay, when you have bleeding, this could be due to osteoporosis, affecting the bone marrow cavity, and it's not making platelets properly, and that's why people bleed under their skin and all that kind of stuff. So it really needs to look at the diet and make sure nobody in the household, dog, cat, bird, fish, spouse, roommate, caregiver, nobody can be eating any gluten that prepares food for him or washes his clothes or cleans the house, anything like that. That's very important because of cross-contamination, because you have to be able to absorb this stuff. And if you have bleeding going on, the odds are his bone marrow is not happy and not making platelets.
Right.
And again, just taking too many aspirin a day can cause that, right?
Yep. And you said he's on a feeding tube. What nutrition is he getting? Is he getting the nutrition, that the liquid nutrition that the nutritionists, the pharmaceuticals companies are putting out there? Some of those could have gluten in them. So he wants to sweat.
He's taking the shake that was recommended.
Okay, is that all, or is he also on something the doctor's recommending as well?
Oh yeah, he's taking the liquid nutrients that they recommended.
Right. You've got to read
well, they
those
probably
labels.
Have gluten. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to, because they'll put gluten in them to thicken them up.
Oh.
So you got to read the labels. And quite frankly,
yes, I think they're called like Ensure. They're called Ensure.
Yes.
Yes. There's dozens and dozens of them out there for tube feeding. So that's something that has to be considered as well. And also, I don't know. I mean, is he in a facility, nursing facility?
No, he's at home.
Okay. So you got more control over what he has. I would completely replace those with the food replacement shakes that we have, the meal replacement shakes that we have, and make sure you're adding in the 90 essentials into that shake, at least 3 times a day.
Also, I would make it out of heavy cream instead of water, as the label says. I would also
heavy whipping cream.
Yeah, I would also soft boil 3 eggs or soft poach with butter, and have them have 3 meals a day: 1 at breakfast, 1 at lunch, 1 at dinner time, with those shakes with the heavy cream and the eggs, and then all the nutrients.
Yeah, he's taking the eye egg. He's taking the eye egg because he's taking the eye egg powder.
What's eye egg powder? I don't know what
I-26. I-26.
Oh.
Hyperimmune egg.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
But see, that's not quite what I want. That's fine. That's good. But we're looking for something else in the eggs other than immunity. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he needs the protein from the eggs, and he needs
the fat, and he needs the fats from the eggs.
Right, and those manufactured feeding products, for the fat, they always use corn syrup or some type of syrup, vegetable syrup, not syrup, oil, corn oil or some other vegetable oil. And that's causing more inflammation and causing more problems with the bleeding. So you want to get him on the shakes since you have control, and make sure you make the shakes with the heavy whipping cream so he's getting plenty of good fat. And I would squeeze the EFAs into it. My personal opinion is the omega-3s from jojoba, because that's just the omega-3 only. And the omega-3 part of the fatty acids is what shuts off inflammation. And until he's got all this stuff under control, that's the way I would go. Dr. Wallach might differ on me on that one, but that's the way I would go.
Okay, no, you did a great job there, Pharmacist Keith. Thank you so much for contributing.
All right. Looks like we are at the top of the hour, Dr. Wallach. Was there another question? Okay. Looks like we're at the top of the hour, and I know you've got to jump off. So if you could tell us how to reach you on the radio.
Okay. Let's see here. From noon to 1 every Monday through Friday, you can reach me at that's Dead Doctors Don't Lie. That's 1-888. That's 1-888-379-2552. That's 1-888-279-2552. And then from 1 to 2 every Monday through Friday, it's Leslie Doctor. You can reach me toll free also, 1-877-912-7529. That's 1-877-912-7529. And they're both toll free. And I give about a 15-20 minute monologue at the beginning, and then everybody can call in and ask questions.
Absolutely. And be sure to visit Dr. Wallach's website. That's where he makes his income is from the sale of the CDs and books, drjwallach.com, drjwallach.com. And you can hear the archive of his radio program by going to radio.givedoc90days.com. That's radio.givedoc90days.com. And while you're on the internet, go over and visit our new, brand new website. The website is givedoc90days.com. And let us know what you think. And anytime you go visit our Facebook page, be sure you like it and give it some, your opinion. Write on there what you think of the website, because that helps with the Facebook algorithms to get this information out to more people. Well, I've got to get moving again. I'm going to run in here and grab some food before we take off, and I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you very much, Pharmacist Keith. Bye-bye, and don't forget, praise the Lord and pass to 90.
Oh, and today's show can be found on YouTube on the Prosperity RX channel. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.